All right, so we in the Shabath, the Shabath, the Torah Parashah of NOACH or NOACH, Noah, Genesis chapter 6, verse 9 through Genesis chapter 11, verse 32. About 6 chapters. And in Isaiah chapter 54, verse 1 through Isaiah 55 and 5. And Luke chapter 17, verses 20 through 27. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it with the first reader. Reading Genesis chapter 6, verse 9 through Genesis chapter 6, verse 22. All right, so let's see. I go ahead and start.
These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations.
Meaning he was righteous and upright, had a good heart. Go ahead.
And Noah walked with Elohim. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Shem, which is the father of us, Native Americans, blacks that came to American slavery, the father of the indigenous Africans, and Japheth is the father of the people of the islands. Okay, go ahead.
The earth was corrupt before Elohim.
The islands primarily dealing with the Pacific Islands, whether you're going from New Zealand, Tonga, Samoa, Hawaii, or Hawaii. All right, go ahead.
The earth was filled with violence. And Elohim looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And Elohim said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come to before me.
See how it said basically I'm ready to destroy the earth. That's what it means, the end of all flesh has come before me. So the wickedness, which is death, that's the end of all flesh. So the wickedness, which translates into death, came before Yahweh, so he had to kill. Go ahead.
For the earth is filled with violence to them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make me an ark.
So meaning he's going to destroy the people along with everything that's inhabiting the earth. Go ahead.
Make me an ark of gopher wood. Room shalt thou make on the ark, and also pitch it within it and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits,
which is 450 feet. Go ahead.
And the breadth of it 50 cubits,
which is 75 feet wide.
And the height of it 30 cubits,
which is 45 feet high. Go ahead.
A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above, and set it. And the door of the ark shalt thou set, and the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. And behold, I do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh. Wilderness is the breath of life.
So all creatures on the earth going to be destroyed. Go ahead.
From under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee I shall establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee, and everything that of all flesh, 2 of every sort shall thou bring into the ark.
So these are 2 kinds of every animal that's unclean that we can't eat. Right, 2 males and 2 females. Continue. Quara.
To keep them alive with thee, there shall be male and female, of fowls after their kind.
So birds.
And of cattle after their kind.
So cattle is talking about the beast of the earth.
And every creeping thing of the earth.
All right, so anything that's on the earth. Go ahead.
After his kind. 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep him alive.
So these are the Tama'ah animals we can't eat. 2 males and 2 females each.
And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten.
So he took all of the green type foods.
And thou shalt gather it to thee. And it shall be food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah according to all that Elohim commanded him.
Okay.
So did he.
Kala Shada, the body Yahweh, Naisha, or Nashima. All the Yahweh said, we do in here. Shalom Dawad. Okay, so let's continue. With Genesis chapter 7 and verses 1 through 16.
And Yahweh said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation.
So Noah's family, Noah's sons, his daughter, and his daughter-in-laws, and Noah's wife were all saved for the sake of the righteousness of Noah. All right. So the Most High, for the sake of one righteous man, 7 people in all of humanity, okay, were saved and were able to, perpetuate seed because Noah was righteous before the Most High. Go ahead.
Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7.
Clean beasts meaning the animals that we can eat according to Leviticus chapter 11 and Deuteronomy chapter 14, where we have the clean and unclean animals. Go ahead.
The male and his female, and of the beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by 7, the male and the female.
So the birds in the air of the clean animals. Go ahead.
To keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth.
Now he said to keep seed alive upon all the face of the earth. When you go into what verse is that?
Verse 3.
Verse 3. To keep seed, that goes into how the animals, they'll eat like some berries, or they'll eat like an apple, and they'll eat like an orange or something. And then when they have when they're flying, that's how people get, a bird will cock out on somebody's head sometimes, or somebody's clothes, because the birds cock out whenever they want to. They don't got no special place or special way they do it. So as the animal's eating his seeds, he's flying or she's flying, and as they fly, they drop out the seeds from their poop, and that's how the seeds get carried to other parts of the earth, to other parts of the geographical area. All right, because the birds eat the stuff, and the bigger the bird, the bigger the seed. So so a stork, an eagle and an owl or something that eats an animal that ate one of those seeds or whatever is gonna poop that seed out. And that seed hits the ground and it's going to grow. So the Most High is using like a form of ecology that's kind of really beyond us. All right. But these animals were, taking the seeds. The birds were taking the seeds and then dropping the seeds as they flew around. Go ahead.
For yet 7
you blocking that light too, man.
For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the.
See how I was saying, go into the ark because in 7 days it'll cause the rain to come down.
Upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth.
So anything Yahweh have made is going to be destroyed from off of the earth. Nothing made it through that flood. There was no giants holding on to the bottom of the ark, or nobody went in outer space and then came back. Nobody hovered above the ground. Every living thing died except for what was inside of that ark. Go ahead.
And Noah did according unto all that Yahweh commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of the waters was upon the earth.
600.
And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him, into the ark because of the waters of the flood.
So these are 8 people going into the ark. Go ahead.
Of clean beasts and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls and of every thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Showing how Noah had dietary laws. He had dietary laws. Which animal was clean and which animals were not clean. This ain't talking about an animal that's unclean like a pig. It's talking about an animal that's unclean like a rabbit. A rabbit's not a filthy animal, but we can't eat it. So therefore it's called tama'ah. All right. So all the tama'ah animals he took by 2. The animals that we could not eat, that were tahar, that we can eat rather, he took in by 7s. All right, go ahead.
There went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, and the male and the female, as Elohim commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth.
Go ahead.
And the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, The same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened,
Mm-hmm.
and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40
The
nights.
water's coming from the bottom and from the top. What?
And the self same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark, they and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind,
Okay.
and every bird and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto the ark, and they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in went in male and female of flesh, as
Of all flesh.
It says of flesh.
Okay.
As Elohim commanded him, and Yahweh shut him in, and the flood was.
You stopping at 16, remember? All right, so the Most High, everything coming into the ark now, the people, the animals, 7 animals, 7 males and 7 females of every animal that we can eat, and 2 females and 2 males of the animals that we cannot eat. All right, so it's two boy rabbits, 2 girl rabbits, 2 boy eagles, 2 girl eagles. Okay, 7 robins, 7 girl robins, 7 boy robins. Okay, 7 peacocks, males, and 7 girl peacocks. 7 different types of chicken. All right, males, and 7 chicken that were girls. All right, 7 pheasants that were males, and 7 girl pheasants. So every animal that we could eat, it was 7 boys and 7 girls. The ones we cannot eat, it was 2 boys and 2 girls. All right. So the next portion is we're going to start from chapter 7, verse 17 through 8:14. All right, 7:17 through 8:14. All right, go ahead.
And the flood was 40 days upon the earth,
Uh-huh.
and the water increased and brought up to the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth.
So the ark started to float up. Go ahead.
And the waters prevailed, and were increased greatly upon the earth.
Now, I mean, you open your mouth a little bit when you read, so it don't sound like you mumbling. Okay.
And the ark went upon the face of the waters, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and at high hills.
And all what's it? And what?
And all the high hills
Okay.
that were under the whole heaven were covered.
So that's Mount Everett, Kilimanjaro, Mount Everest. All these mountains were covered with the water. Go ahead.
15 cubits upward.
That's 22.5 feet above the highest mountain is where the waters were. Go ahead.
Yet the waters prevailed, and the mountains were covered.
That's why they have found seashell deposits in a lot of the high mountains that are from, older periods. All right. So you have these old shells that are at the tops of the mountains. But the old stuff is supposed to be where? At the bottom of the mountain, at the bottom of the ocean, because it's older. All right. So the new stuff, goes on top. So imagine you digging and you find something that's 100 years old right on the top layer of the forest, and then you start digging, and then you find something that's only 50 years old. You're like, hold up, how come the old thing is on the top and the new thing is on the bottom, right? The new thing's supposed to be on the top, and the old thing's supposed to be at the bottom. Well, because the stuff that was at the bottom, it started to float during the flood. Stuff started to float. Everything got loosened up, and some of the stuff floated to the top, and it went to the tops of the mountains. And when it went to the tops of the mountains, they got covered up with dirt. So now when people go and start digging these things up, they say, hey, it's an old shell that's at the top of this mountain. How did it get here? Well, it got there because of the flood. Because everything was loose. All the waters were on a whole earth. And then animals, of course, start to fly at the mountains also. So some of the animals, they died. Animal might have made a burrow into a mountain, because that's what he does. He might be a burrowing an animal that makes a hole in the dirt under the ocean, right? And then during the flood, though, when the water went back down, the animal was there, and the animal might have died there. So you have this animal that belongs at the bottom of the ocean, sitting at the top of a mountain. How did that happen? An animal that lived near the surface of the ocean, at the top of a mountain. How did that happen? Happened because of the flood. All right, because Yahweh flooded the earth with water. Go ahead.
And all flesh died that moved upon the earth.
Anything that was on the earth died in this flood. Any and everything. Except for what was inside the ark with Noah. Go ahead.
Both of fowl and of cattle and of beast and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And every mammal, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, all that was in the dry land died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven,
Mm-hmm.
and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark.
Go ahead.
And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days.
Go ahead. So that's how long the water was on the earth, 150 days. All right. Kala Shara, the body of Yahweh, Na'Isha, Wanashemai. All that Yahweh said, what we doing here. All right, chapter 8, verse 1 through 14.
And I remembered Noah and every living thing, and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And I made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters swabbed.
So the water, Yahweh made a wind, that's talking about the spirit of the Most High passed over the earth and made the waters go down. In Hebrew it says Rawak or Rakah. Came over the earth, made the water go down. So this is like a supernatural event. The Most High sent a special spirit out to just make the waters go back. All right. Go ahead.
The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained, and the waters returned from off the earth continually.
Return meaning what? They turned back, went back where they came from. Go ahead.
And after the end of 150 days, the waters were abated.
So after 150 days, all the water was going back where it came from. Some of it evaporated, some of it went back into the place where it started at. Go ahead.
And the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 7th day of the month.
On the what day?
On the 17th day of the month. Upon the mountain of Ararat.
Now, Ararat is in a country called Armenia, which is kind of between the Caspian and the Black Sea, south of the Caucasus Mountains, south of South Georgia and Russia. And at the top of this mountain, they found the ark. Ark is there. Sometimes it's frozen under a whole lot of ice, but they found the ark at the top of that mountain. So they know that the ark is real. The ark that Noah built, they know it's real. They found it at the top of the mountain in Mount Ararat. And from Mount Ararat, civilization went south, which is like Assyria, ancient Babylon, Nineveh. That's why Nimrod set up his kingdom in Babylon area. And then from there, a lot of us went further west, right? A lot of Semitic people went further west into what we call now Israel. And then some of the Hamites went there also, all right? And then some of them went into northeastern Africa, like Sudan and Egypt, places like that. And that's why they speak a more Semitic language. So that's how you know we started kind of from the eastern areas, because the people that are in Eastern Africa, where they find like a lot of the older cultures, all right, between the kingdoms of Egypt, they have more of a Semitic-based language. As a matter of fact, now the Eastern languages that they speak in Somalia, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Eritrea, those are pure Semitic languages. And they're Semitic languages because those cultures developed in the East. All right? Developed in the East. All right? Go ahead.
And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, where the tops of the mountains seen.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and he had sent forth a raven, which went forth in front, until the waters were dried up from off the earth.
So went forth is like forward, and went fro is like froward, away from. So he went to a location and then away from that location. Okay, to and fro. He's going back and forth. All right, go ahead.
Also he sent forth a dove from heaven to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him into the ark. For the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand and took her and pulled her in unto him.
So he sent this dove out, and the dove came back. All right, go ahead.
Into the ark. And he stayed yet another 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came unto him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So no one knew that the waters were abated from off the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And he stayed yet another 7 days, and sent forth the dove, which returned not again unto him any more.
Because the ground had dried now. Go ahead.
And it came to pass in the 600th of the first year, in the first month, on the first day of the month, the waters were dried from off the earth, and no one moved the covering.
So the first day of the first month, the new month, the first day of the first of the year is when all the earth was dried. So that's New Year's Day. So New Year's Day. Go ahead.
And looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. In the second month of the seventh and 20th day of the month was the earth dried.
All right, so in your little section, so now the earth is dried up. Okay. What will happen next? All right, so let's start with chapter 15, chapter 8, verse 15 through 22. Go ahead. Chapter 8, verse 15 through into the chapter. Go ahead.
And Elohim spake unto Noah.
Remember when it says Elohim is getting into Hamashiach Yahweh, which is the black man. It's getting into Yahweh, which is the Almighty Creator, which is would be described as a black man. And it's getting into the angels, Malaakim, which are black. When I say black, I mean really black and brown, going from a light brown to a dark brown. All right, go ahead.
Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife and thy sons wife with thee.
So I was okay, it's time to get out the ark. Go ahead.
Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee, of all flesh, both of fowl and of cattle, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth and be fruitful and multiply.
So these animals are supposed to breed upon the earth. No other creatures. So the white man, he's created all types of different vegetables and all types of animals that he tries to make breed with each other. The only animals that are supposed to be breeding are the ones that Yahweh created, and the ones that come from that family. No little special laboratory creations and no little mixing and mingling. All right, that goes for the plant life and for the animal life. Okay, so these animals are supposed to be reproducing, which are the ones that the Most High created, and the ones that came off of that ark with Noah. Go ahead.
And Noah went forth, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him, every beast and every creeping thing, and every fowl, and whatsoever creepeth upon the earth, after their kinds went forth out of the ark. And
now, after their kind, meaning of their own families, there wasn't mixing and mingling going up between the cats and the wolves, okay, or between a whale and a goldfish. All right. Now, of course, you had animals that had different features that you may develop over the years, like a Chihuahua versus a German Shepherd versus a Husky. 3 different types of animals, 3 different types of climates, right? 3 different types of, Husky hardly never barks. German Shepherd usually barks to protect, and Chihuahua just barks as part of its regular habit, regular nature. All right. So these are all different animals that the Most High created. But of course, man over the years manipulated how animals look and what features he wanted, and so on and so forth. And then these animals were breeding. But there's nothing wrong with that per se. The wrong comes when you try to have a tiger and a lion, try to have a liger, or a horse and a donkey, and trying to have a mule. because these animals can't really reproduce. Right. Go ahead.
And Noah builded an altar unto Yahweh.
So when this was over, Noah built an altar to Yahweh to make a sacrifice. All right. Go ahead.
And took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar.
So of all of the animals that were clean, Noah took these animals and went and made sacrifices. That's why the devil was like, I ain't going back. I'm not going back because I ain't trying to die. So that dove said, man, but I ain't go back to Noah, boy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they were so when they did this, he wasn't, he just, remember, this is the man that just lost, everything that he had. His whole family. His cousins, uncles. No, people think about Noah after the flood. They don't think about Noah before the flood. Noah was a little boy at one time. He dealt with his grandfather, his great-grandfather, and he had cousins, he had uncles. He played games when he was a little boy. Used to go swimming. Used to climb trees. Used to throw rocks. Used to chase animals. He was a little boy. He had family and friends. But when he started to walk in Yahweh and keep the commandments, Yahweh noticed him and said, you know what? I'm going to preserve you. I'm going to destroy everybody else, but I'm going to preserve you. So Noah was the only one left. Everybody else died. So after the flood, Noah was sad. He was sad, but he was also glad. And he was thankful that Yahweh chose him. So his sadness didn't control him. His thanks and appreciation, respect, and love for Yahweh is what controlled him. He said, you know what? I'm going to offer a sacrifice to Yahweh. So, no pun intended, but he saw the silver lining in the gray cloud. He didn't focus on the negative. And that everybody just died, but he focused on the fact, okay, fresh start. We can start again. I'm alive. Thank Yahweh. I'm going to kill some animals on this altar as a token, a sign of my respect and appreciation for him. Go ahead. Call your verse.
Genesis chapter 8, verse 21.
And
Yahweh smelled a sweet savor, and Yahweh said in his heart.
So for all you vegans out there, Yahweh likes the way that grill smell with that lamb and that beef on top of it. He likes that smell. And that goat, he likes it. I don't know how he feels about grilled eggplant. I don't know how he feels about that. About artichokes. Smoked, I don't know how he feels about smoked artichokes. He never say. Guess he didn't. I guess he figures not worth mentioning to us. Okay, go ahead.
I will not again curse the ground anymore for the man's sake.
So it was meat. When he smelled that meat cooking, he said, man, I'm not going to kill these people no more. That's how much he liked to smell the meat. Okay? He smelled the sweet savor, and he said in his heart, man, I'm not going to curse the ground again. That's how much Yahweh liked the way that meat smelled cooking. Go ahead.
For the imagination of man's heart is evil.
Oh, he just evil. He can't help it. Go ahead.
From his youth.
Neither
will I again smite any more every living thing as I have done.
So now from Noah, from the time of Adam, the ground was cursed. It was bringing forth thorns and all types of prickly things with the food, right? So now we see that with the prickly things is also bringing forth food. But then Yahweh said, you know what? Stop prickly things, stop growing from the ground. Just dirt and the plants that get that have to grow for the food. That's all I'm worried about now. Everybody understand? So now when we see this happening, Yahweh's like, I don't want to kill anybody anymore. So the ground, you're not cursed no more, and I'm not going to kill everybody. Why? What made him feel that way? Because he smelled that barbecue. He smelled that meat cooking, burning that Noah was offering as a sacrifice to him. And also what? It was the intent of Noah's heart, Noah's prayers and thankfulness that came up before Yahweh also. He said, you know what? Out of every bad apples, there's one that's good, is what he's saying. I mean, we say one apple spoils a whole bunch. But in this case, the whole bunch was spoiled, and it was one man that didn't become spoiled, and that was Noah. So Yahweh said, you know what? I'm not going to kill everybody again. Ground, the curse is released from you, and now these animals, the people, I'm not going to kill everybody else again. All right, because Noah liked the way that sweet savor smelled. All right, go ahead.
While the earth remaineth, seed time and
Seed time, which is when the warm season starts, the summer, when we start to put crops in the ground, and harvest, which is with the cold. Go ahead.
And cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease.
All right, so seed time is the heat in the summer. That's when it starts to get hot and you plant your crops. Now the harvest time is your cold, and it's the winter, when you start to get the crops from the ground, from the trees, from the vines, from off of the plants, and even from the flowers. Because that's where you get your sunflowers from, sunflower seeds from, is the sunflowers, right? So now he said, you know what? As these things are always going to be. He said day and night. So this day and night is talking about the day, which is the morning, and the night, which is related to the evening. All right? So the balance is always going to be. Do you see what he's saying? Everything is balanced. Polar opposites. Opposite of planting a crop, putting in the ground, is taking it away from the ground. Opposite of cold is hot. Opposite of winter is summer. Opposite of night, it's like night and day. People still say that. So Yahweh deals with opposites. And that's how we know that the new moon is white. Because since we've been, the new moon is black, not white. Not a little bit of white, not a little bit of black, but fully black. Because Yahweh deals in opposites. And the beginning of his creation was what? The beginning, there was darkness. When he said the day, he said the evening is the first day. The evening and the morning, the evening came first. So we see always from Genesis chapter 1, opposites. Evening, morning, darkness, light, male, female. All right? He made from the waters what? The fish and the birds. One goes to the lowest parts of this earth, and the other one goes to the highest parts of the earth, right? So he made the opposites. All right. So this is how we see that in that creation, he made opposites, and that's the principles that he stands on, the principles of opposites, dualities, balance. So the new moon could never be a little bit white. It's either going to be fully white or fully black, because he don't deal with halfway, partially stuff in terms of beginnings and ends. The day ends when what? When the sky is black. What did he put up there to let us know that the day was over and we were beginning a new day? He said the stars. Let them be for signs and for days and for seasons and for years. Seasons, of course, meaning for festivals, Mawaidim or Moedim, as we would say in modern Hebrew. All right. So what's the point of all? The point is that the seed time and the harvest, we don't see what? We don't see 4 seasons. We don't see 4 seasons. We see one season and we see an opposite season. He don't give account to the little intermediate buffer seasons. All right? He don't give account for the intermediate buffer seasons. All right? He doesn't say, well, when the equinox starts, because the equinox is not even part of the Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, which is talking about the 12 constellations, the 12 signs in the sky, which are there for only for signs to us, for us timekeeping, for days, for seasons, which means festivals, Mawa'idiyam, and then for years. That's how we're supposed to count our years. All right? So that's the balance and the polarity. And Yahweh said that I'm going to keep the earth going in this cycle forever. I'm not going to stop this cycle anymore. All right. Back to you.
Kalashara,
Kalashara,
the Bar Yahweh,
the body of Yahweh,
Na'isha,
Na'isha,
Wanashima.
Wanashaman.
All Yahweh said,
All the Yahweh said,
what are we doing here?
what we do, and and here. All right, so now, we keep going to, right? 9:7.
And Elohim blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth.
So Yahweh, now this is something you gotta understand too. When Noah's children were having babies with their wives, when Ham had, let's say Canaan, for example, when Ham had Canaan, all right. Let's see. Well, let's not use Canaan. Let's use the one that's mentioned first, Cush. When Ham had Cush, all right, or Kawash, who did Kawash go to get a wife? He only got two options of where to go to get a wife. Where did he go to? Huh? One of you all. Where did he go to? Shem or Japheth. So what you want to call a nation and whatever been mixed from day one. Okay? It's been mixed from day one. Because when Cush had his babies, there was not a whole bunch of Cushites. There was only one man named Cush. And Cush went to Noah, or Cush went to Shem or Japheth and said, look, can I have your daughter or your niece? Actually, it was just pretty much daughters. They went to another man and said, hey, can I have your daughter, or so that's how it went. So Ham, Shem, and Japheth been mixing with each other genetically from day one. But it's all come from the same father, which is Noah. And that's why you have African people that have what people may call Chinese eyes, or a Chinese person has really, really dark skin. All right. The darkest person I've seen in my life was not from China and was not from Africa. They were from India. But the kinkiest hair I've seen, Judah might have been in that cat. Judah might have had that one. All right. So we have all features in the families of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. But only in us as Israelites, people can't understand, because why? We have such a wide range. Because we inherited that genetic royalty from Noah. Because Noah had all genes for all nations in his blood, because they all came from him. And it came down from Noah, came down to Noah from his father Adam. Adam had everything in that you could have in his body. So when now Noah's born and Noah has children, his sons can make all types of people. And all of them were mainly, all of them were brown skinned mainly. We don't know what shades of brown they were. We don't know what texture of hair they had. We don't know that. But we know they were brown. Okay? So now we as the children of Israel, we inherited the royal genetics. I mean, we ain't even off, we off the charts. We off the DNA charts. We beyond the haplogroup. All right? We beyond E1, B1, ABC. We beyond that. Our genetics is spiritual. Our genetics is spiritual. We're on a higher level than what the white man can read on his charts. But people contribute so much credit to genetics, but you don't understand genetics. The same genetics that Maury Povich is using, saying that you're not the father and you are the father, is the same genetics that got people convicted wrongfully using DNA science, and then going back looking at it again and going, well, he didn't do it. Let's let him out of jail after being locked up for 20 years using genetic DNA science to say that he was guilty of raping a woman. Then coming back 20 years later, saying, the science has improved. Let's look at it again. Oh, you didn't do it. We're sorry. Here's a little bit of money. You're free to go. So we don't know enough about DNA to base our salvation or our ancient identity on it. All right? Because how do you think you have different, if we all have the same source How do you think you have different types of genetics and different haplogroups anyway? Because of genetic mutations. So how do you know how long being around people manipulates or affects your DNA? Because your DNA can change over the years. It can mutate. That's how people develop different types of features over the years that don't look like their ancestors' features. Things get more fine-tuned. All right? Things get more fine-tuned. And that's faulty also. Because what people have been in the coldest regions of the earth for the longest times? The Inuit type people, what they want to call Eskimos. They're further north than Norway, Sweden, Finland. So why do the Inuit and Eskimo people have shorter, wider noses? Like you would say, people, anthropologists would say, this is from a warmer climate, but they're in the furthest north of the world, right? As opposed to a white person from Scandinavia, from Denmark, or from Finland, or from Sweden, that person is going to have a long, slender, pointy nose. Oh, so the air can get warmed up before it gets to their brains. Well, how come the Eskimos, so-called Eskimos, the Inuit people, how come they have a shorter nose with wider nostrils? You see that? Right? So the genetics don't solve or answer all of the riddles and questions about everything. So we know it's something spiritual going on. So when Ham, Shem, and Japheth, as we see right here, the Most High commanded them to be fruitful and multiply. And of course, as the nations go on, they develop their look, but that's spiritual. It's how Yahweh wanted it to be. All right? I mean, look in this room. Everybody got different noses. Everybody got different types of noses. Nobody nose look the same as the other person. You may have something that's similar. You got different bridges, different widths. Your nose may look like your Abba, it may look like your Amma, might not look like either one. All right? So this is what happened with Noah's children. These are the parents of all of world civilization, Noah. And his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So just because you got straight hair or kinky hair or light skin or dark skin, it doesn't mean you any more or any less Israelite than the next person. You can't use China as a measuring stick, and you can't use Africa as a measuring stick. You got to use the prophecy in the Bible as a measuring stick to see what happened to who. What happened to you? What was your experience of your ancestors? And that's what determines who you are. All right, go ahead. Call it.
Genesis chapter 9, verse 2.
Uh-huh.
And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth.
Okay.
And upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moves upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. And into your hand are they delivered. So
everything on the earth is controlled and submitted to Noah in righteousness and his sons in righteousness. But as men became more wicked, they didn't the animals lost a little bit of fear for us. But at the same token, you may have little different things happen when animals attack people. But there's enough elephants in a lot of areas in these countries, enough hyenas, enough lions. All right, there's enough eagles, enough birds, enough owls to just go and totally destroy villages and then go hide. All right, why don't they do that? Because it's the man that has the dominion. The animals still have a fear for human beings. Okay, go ahead.
Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you.
So everything that moves, which is on these clean animals that we already saw, the animals that were clean, is meat for you. So now you can go and eat this meat. Go ahead.
Even as the green herb have I given you all things.
So I've given you these meat animals to eat like I gave you the herbs. That's clear. Go ahead.
The flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat.
So you have to take the blood out of the animal before you eat it. All right, go ahead.
And surely your blood of your lives, and surely your blood of your lives will I require.
Mhm.
At the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man.
All right, so for animal, if animal or man kills a man, then that animal or man has to be punished. If it's an accident, then the man has to go someplace, as a refuge. He can't just be walking around. He kills somebody in an accident. If it's an animal, he gets killed. If you did it on purpose, you get killed. So there's a punishment for the beast and for man if they take another person's life. Read.
Whoso sheddeth man's blood,
So if you kill a man, you shed his blood. Go ahead.
by man shall his blood be shed.
By man shall your blood be shed. Go ahead.
For in the image of Elohim made he man.
So you're murdering the image of Elohim. All right. Now, when you look at this is talking about every descendant of Noah, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. I think a lot of people read the Bible and they want to start with Exodus. And that's why we don't understand it. We just can't go around murdering people just because they're Edomite or just because they are Hamite, just because they are, Elam or from India or Samoa or Alaska. You can't just murder somebody. You can't just take a person's life. The Most High is telling you right here, you just can't shed a man's blood. Now, if the man is worthy of death and you're doing something, to defend yourself, what have you, or you're getting a righteous justice in the system of righteous justice that you are part of, then that's a different story. But you can't just randomly walk up and be like, you are Edomite, or you Chinese, or you Moab, I'm going to kill you. You can't do that. Because even when you look in the scriptures, even if you say they trespassing, the crime for trespassing was not for that particular person to get murdered. If you remove the neighbor's landmark, yes, it said you were cursed. All right. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. The extent of the trespass and what's being trespassed and who's invading. Now, invading, okay, that's a different story. All right. Invading, that's a different story. All right. But you have to understand and look at the fact that you need a reason to kill the person. That reason needs to be justifiable within our laws that Yahweh gave to us. Not that curtain you keep leaning back on it. That's like it. All right, go ahead.
Genesis chapter 9, verse 7. And you be...
Now, when we go to war, the rules of war apply. All enemies in a war, all nations that we are against in a war that are not for us, individuals, nations, whatever, are going to get killed. Period. But to talk about it and to give everybody, oh yeah, this, that, okay, with all that, man. But we're going to go to war. It's going to be time to go to war. Ain't going to be no Facebook post about it. Ain't going to be no status updates. Right? Ain't going to be no IG surfing. When we go to war, we're going to go to war. And we're going to know we're at war. All right, so a lot of brothers are talking tough now and never see no parts of the street. And never see no parts of holding no iron, holding no heat, no fire in their hands. And never bust or slice or cut nothing. Suddenly coming to the truth. Now they the masters of war now. They never had no parts of war in the streets. All right? And never had no parts of that. You know what I'm saying? And the people that have don't just be on there talking about doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. You see what I'm saying? So the time is going to come. So a lot of people think that because we don't go into the whole lot of war, and bashing, we got more focus on, right now, our focus on resurrecting and teaching our people what they need to do for their soul to make it into the kingdom. The other nations, we don't know what to do. We're going to teach our people what they need to do. All right. But some pearls you just don't cast before the swine. Some pearls you make sure that you give it to a person that's going to respect and appreciate that pearl. And that's what certain knowledge in the Bible is. These are precious jewels and pearls that we don't just share with everybody. Now, we know it's going to be race wars. We know it's going to be nations rising up against us, and we're going to smash, demolish, and destroy them. We know people's guts going to be spilled. We know heads are going to be chopped off, cut off with a sword. All right? We know that. But knowing that is not going to get our people eternal life. Knowing the law and Yahushua is going to be what we need to know and walk in to get that eternal life. And inside the law, of course, we talk about war. So then we talk about war inside the law. That's when we go to Ezekiel 25, Zephaniah chapter 9, and Zephaniah chapter 10, and Joel chapter 2. That's when we go into all these other scriptures. You see? That's when we go into these scriptures. But after that, we're not fixated on a particular topic other than salvation and what we need to get it, which is the royal basics. And of course, war and death and bloodshed and spilling guts fits into that equation. But it's not the foundation of what we're talking about. We have the foundation is Yahushua. And the course over top of that we lay has to be the Torah and the law. And those two courses you're going to take forever to fully understand. So now we talk about war and race wars and destroying the so-called white man's kingdoms. Those are prophecies that we go into. Those are prophecies that we have to understand. But what we have to understand most is salvation and repentance and obedience. Because the so-called white man's blood is going to spill throughout every country he's in, that he's invaded, that he's conquered, that he may have just peacefully visited on tourism. He don't belong there. He was given his homeland and he violated across the whole planet Earth. And his children are reaping the benefits of the evil and the wickedness that their fathers have done. And they're going to pay for that too. They're going to pay for that. But that's not the subject of every conversation that we have. Okay? The most important thing we need to know. All right? And frankly, now I could really, people want to talk about and argue about, Cornelius or about Ruth. I could really give a rat's behind what they were, unless I can fit it into the paradigm of affecting salvation and repentance for me and my people. So you got to look at the law of Israel and look at the law about Gentiles and strangers. Now, how do Ruth and Cornelius fit into that equation? A lot of these things are just trivial points of enlightenment that people use to just give a better understanding of how they are such a good student and teacher. But ultimately, if you have not given your life, your soul to Yahweh, God Almighty, and to his son Yahushua, who the world called Jesus Christ, which is a black man, if you have not given your soul and your life to them, you are going to the lake of fire, period. So that's what you need to focus on, is how to become a servant of the Most High God, Yahweh, how to serve him. All right? So that's enough of that little rant. Okay? Let's go back in. What verse you in?
Genesis chapter 9, verse 7.
Genesis 9 and 7. Read.
And you be ye fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply therein. So
Noah, Yahweh is telling Noah's children to have babies, have children, be fruitful and multiply. Read.
Verse 7.
Okay. So now let's have you go to chapter 9, verse 8 through 17. Amaria. Chapter 9, verse 8 through 17. All right, go ahead.
And Elohim spake unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you.
So this covenant or Barayah is a promise that Yahweh is making. And we don't have to do nothing for this covenant. And a lot of times when people say, well, a covenant is when both parties have a responsibility to do something. That's not what a covenant is. From here we see that. Because the covenant is only the rainbow of what Yahweh is not going to destroy the earth by water no more. That's what this covenant is. And it's only one person that's making the agreement of what they're not going to do and what they're going to do. And the other person, which is Noah, his children, have no responsibility in that covenant. Read.
And with every living creature that is with you,
Mm-hmm.
of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you,
Go ahead.
from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth.
So everything that's on the planet, this is the agreement I'm making. Read.
And I will establish my covenant with you.
Uh-huh.
Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of the flood.
Uh-huh.
Neither shall there be any more a flood to destroy the earth.
Go ahead.
And Elohim said,
So no more water to cut off the earth. No more flood to kill everything. Read.
This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you.
So this is the sign. This is the awaf of the token of the covenant. We have tokens for the covenant. The token of the covenant, which is the instrument that was used, was the blood when we came into covenant with Yahweh. Then it was the blood of Yahweh Shai, who the world called Jesus Christ, which was the covenant that we're in that going into now. Circumcision is the covenant of the promise that was made with Abraham. The Sabbath is the covenant between Yahweh and the children of Israel. That's the covenant, and that's the token. That's the sign. So the sign here is the awaf. What holds this thing in place from the beginning to the end? That's the awaf, which is awaf is going to be the Hebrew letters alap, wawa, and alap, wawa, and ta'af. All right, let me write it real quick. Does marker work? All right, so it's like this: the alap, the wawa, and the tawa. Right, nobody can see it. Tell you, boy. So none of these work, huh? Yeah. So awaf is the sign. Okay. So awaf is the sign. And Yahweh tells us with the sign that he's not going to destroy the earth anymore. He's not going to destroy the earth anymore by the water. All right. So here's the letters that make up that word in Hebrew: the alap, the wawa, and the tawah. Or in the modern Hebrew, it'd be alap, wawa, and then the tawah. So that's the beginning, first letter, which is the ox, strength and strong. And that's the last letter, which is the tawah, which means the end or the mark. And this is the hook in the middle, the wawa, which holds everything together. Okay? Holds everything together. All right. So this is how we bring that word together, which is a sign. So it is a sign of the beginning and the end of Yahweh's word, his operation, his dealings, what takes us from point A to point B, what holds us and hooks us down together with the wawa. He's going to tell him what the token is going to do. Okay? That's the token. All right, so let's see what is the token. Go ahead.
I do set my bow in a cloud.
What? You got to read it a little more. Open your mouth. You're reading like you got your teeth, the back teeth right here together. You got to open up the mouth. All right, read what verse you call your verse.
Genesis chapter 9, verse 13.
All right, go ahead.
I do set my bow in a cloud.
I do set my bow in the cloud. So he says he sets his bow in the cloud. Go ahead.
And it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth.
So the bow is the token of the covenant, the kwashath. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass when I bring a cloud over the earth.
When Yahweh, when his hand Because every cloud, some clouds just happen by design of currents and things like that in the air. But Yahweh says that when I personally bring a cloud, go ahead.
That the bow shall be seen in the cloud.
You'll see a bow inside of that particular cloud. Go ahead.
And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you.
So when Yahweh sees this bow in this cloud, he remembers the covenant between Noah, go ahead, and himself, go ahead.
And every living creature.
And every creature, go ahead.
Of all flesh.
Go ahead.
And the water shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between Elohim and every living thing, every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And Elohim said unto Noah, this is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth.
So the token of the covenant. Okay. Well, Amar Elohim Alanak Za'ath Awath. All right. So this is the token, the sign. Okay. All right. So now the sixth portion is going to be chapter 9, verse 18. 9:18 through all of chapter 10. So 9:18. So that's what the rainbow is for. People call it a rainbow, but it's actually kwashaf, which is a bow like you use when you go into war. You know, like I'm about to, like bow and arrow. All right. So the Most High made that bow for us to remember his covenant. Now, bow is for war, but the rainbow, the destruction of the bow is when the bow is facing toward, its a victim. But this bow is facing away from us. It's always facing up. So the bow represents destruction and death. But Yahweh took that bow, Koshaf, which is used to kill things, and he made it face up away from us because he's not going to destroy us like that. Okay? And then he put the colors on it too, represent the beauty of the promise. It's a beautiful sign of the covenant between us and Yahweh. All right? Go ahead. Chapter 9, verse 18 through chapter 10:32. Go ahead.
And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth.
Mm-hmm.
And Ham is the father of Canaan. And these are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. And Noah began to be an husbandman, and he planted a vineyard.
So Shem is the father of the Shemitic people, which are the Chinese, Japanese, East Indians, us, Latinos, Hispanic, some East Africans, some West Africans, and some of the ones that have Israelite origins in South Africa, as well as the Sidi and the Shidi and the Kafirs in India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, respectively. Go ahead.
And he drank of the wine.
So Noah began to drink wine. Now, this is over the course of time. Go ahead.
And was drunken, and he was covered within his tent. And Ham and the father of Canaan saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brethren without. And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders.
All right, so you're reading too fast, man. When you're reading, you got to read with the understanding, not just the words on the page. You got to read with the spirit, man. All right, you just reading page. I'm not even keeping up with you because you just reading words on the page. Okay? You got to read like you telling the story. You got to read like you really are trying to get people to understand what you just read. Okay? What verse did you just read?
Verse 23.
Well, I can't even keep up with you, man, because you're just reading. You got to, like you just, like it's a, okay? You read verse 23, right?
Not all of it.
I mean, you read, listen. And he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was covered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brethren without. All right. So instead of trying to say, hey, our father is naked, he said, hey, our father is naked. Like making a mockery out of him. That's all he did. People say he had sex with him when he castrated Noah. He didn't do all that. He didn't rape his father. He just mocked his father. He had a spirit of sexual perversion on him. All right? And that's why there's a lot of spirit of sexual perversion when you go into a lot of these indigenous tribes in Africa to this day. Having sex with bulls, with animals to show their power. All right? Sodom and Gomorrah, those homosexual cities, those were ethnic ancient Africans. The sexual perversion that we read about, the Most High warned us about in the book of Leviticus, chapter 18, is because the Canaanites, which are Hamite people, were doing them same sexual perversions. That's why you see it, cursed be Canaan, right? But that same sexual perversion from Ham went on to Canaan big time. Are you read?
And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders, and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father.
So they went in and they covered their father's nakedness. They put something over him because he was laying in his tent and he was naked. So you can see him. So Ham just went and told his brothers without showing respect to his father to cover him up. Go ahead.
And their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness.
Mm-hmm.
And Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his younger son had done unto him.
So Noah woke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done, which was to, make a mockery of him while he was drunk and didn't have clothes on. Go ahead.
And he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren.
So cursed be Canaan. That's why a lot of the Canaanites are servant to servants. The next time you see the word servant in the Bible is with the Edomites. The elder shall serve the younger. So the Edomites were the servants to Jacob. So this one says that a servant of servants shall he be. So the Canaanites are going to serve the Edomites. How did the Canaanites serve the Edomites on the African continent? With apartheid and the people that's in southern Africa totally being controlled and dominated without nobody else making no fuss about it for hundreds of years. All right. Go ahead.
And he said, blessed be Yahweh Elohim of Shem, and Canaan shall be a servant.
So Canaan is going to serve the Shemites also. Go ahead.
Elohim shall enlarge Japheth.
So Elohim is going to make Japheth's territory large. Go ahead.
And he shall dwell in the tents of Shem.
Meaning he's going to dwell among Shem. You got a lot of Japheth that's over in Iran and Iraq. Okay, that's where you get the Medes Empire from. Some of them are ashore, which are some of your Kurdish people. But a lot of them are Japheth coming from Madai or the Mede. Remember, it's Persian Mede Empire. Darius was a Mede. So the people in Iraq and Iran, those are the ancient Mede people, and they're dwelling in the middle of where Shem is at. All right? They're dwelling in the middle of where Shem is at. All right? To the west is the Arab states, and to the east is Elam and Pakistan, which are Shemitic people also. All right, so that's how he's dwelling in the tents of Shem. All right, Canaan shall be his servant. So there's some interaction between Canaan and Japheth, where Canaan was serving Japheth also. Go ahead.
And Canaan shall be a servant.
Mm-hmm.
And Noah lived after the flood 350 years.
Mm-hmm.
And all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died.
Okay, so Noah died when he was 950 years old. Go ahead.
Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah.
Shall I shout out the body how not Ishah not Shemai? All that Yahweh said what we doing here. All right. Shalom Lekah, Kodashim, Emilio de los Santos, Kodashim. All right. So we're in chapter 10, right? And with chapter 10, you're going to read this whole chapter, okay? Go ahead.
Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and then the sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tiras.
And that's the whole ancient Mediterranean region, all right? Going over into like Javan, course, there's Yawan, the island over there. All right. And then going all the way over to Gomer, Magog, which is going into the southern parts between the Caspian and the Black Seas. All right. Russia wasn't all the way up there. This is just many these coastal areas they occupied. Then they moved further into these areas as time went on. Some of them still there, but then most of them got pushed out by the Edomites. All right. Go ahead.
And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz.
Ashkenaz is the ancient territory of what's called now Germany. So the Ashkenazi Jews don't come from Ashkenaz ethnically. They come from Ashkenaz geographically. That's why people say African Jews, right? But there's no people as African. That's a geographic term. All right. Or they say Ethiopian Jews. Ethiopia is a place, not a person. Ashkenaz is a person, but it was also a place. So when we went into Ashkenaz under the time of Charlemagne, we went into Ashkenaz. When we got there, we took over that area, and they called us. We had Babylon, we had Tiberias, Jews, Babylonian. We had people in Babylon. You look at Peter, and Peter tells you that the last letter, the last chapter of his book. And then you had Ashkenaz. We went into Ashkenaz, so people started calling us the Ashkenazi Jews. So then when we started teaching white people who were the converts and everything, and we got pushed out of that area, got put into slavery, they pick up that label and say, okay, these are the Ashkenazi. But they're not Ashkenazi genetically, they're just Ashkenazi geographically, and they learned the Bible, the Torah, from us. And that term, that's not a contemporaneous term, meaning that's not a term that was used in that time. These are labels that came, far after. Go ahead.
And Rephath and Togarmah and the sons of Javan, Elisha and Tarshish and Kittim and Dodanim.
Kittim once again is the islands, Dodanim. They went all the way down. Dodanim, is that going to be? Let me get this in the Hebrew. What verse is that?
Verse 4.
All right, so verse 4. The down. All right, so these could be some of the people that's over in the southern part of the Arabian Peninsula. All right, go ahead.
By these were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, every one after his tongue, after their families and their nations.
Now, the reason it says the isles, which is Ayah, because these were a people that lived on the waters, and they occupied islands. They loved the islands. They did not like to stay on the mainland. They liked to be close to the oceans, close to the waters. They loved the islands. So they inhabited the islands in, the Mediterranean. They occupied those islands. Now, when they got pushed out of those places, they started to occupy what? The islands in the Indian archipelago. And from the Indian, they were doing trade all the way down there to the Indian archipelago. And then from the Indian archipelago, of course, they jumped to the other Pacific islands. Okay, Australia, New Zealand, Samoa, Tonga, Hawaii. Those are the Japhetic people. All right. So that's one of their trademarks. They inhabited the islands. All right, go ahead.
And the sons of Ham, Cush and Mizraim and Phut and Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Seba and Havah.
So these are the people in respectively Eastern, Northeastern, Northern, and Southern Africa. Now Mizraim has moved toward West Africa now. The main family of Mizraim in West Africa now is going to be the Yoruba. That's the main family now. The Put is going to either be the Fulani or people that's closely like the Fulani. Canaan is going to be the people in South Africa, Southern Africa, all right? And Kush is the ones, Somalia, Sudan, Djibouti, Eritrea, so on and so forth. Go ahead.
And Sabta, and Ra'ama, and Sabtaka, and the sons of Ra'ama, Sheba and Dedan.
Now, Dedan and Dodan, one is the Don, okay, and then one is they have the same name. The Don or Dedan from verse 7 is the same as the Don from verse 4. So you have Shem and Japheth have a son with the same name, and you're going to see this also with the Hamites and the Shemites. Sheba, Seba, those names are repeated also with the both people, with Ham and with Japheth, with Ham and Shem. Salakli. Go ahead.
And Cush begat Nimrod, and he began to be a.
Now Cush begat Nimrod. Now remember, this is all taking place in the by the Ararat area, south of there. All right, Tigris River area. That's where everything is happening right now. All right, go ahead. So Cush had Nimrod. All right, Cush had Nimrod. Nimrod became the great warrior. Nimrod today would be called an Ethiopian, but Nimrod's mother was a Shemite or a Japhethite, because Cush, or it could have been a cousin of Mizraim or Put or Canaan. That was his mother. They could have just mixed in with each other like that. All right, but Cush, Ham had his wife and he had Cush. Cush is the firstborn son. Now, where did Cush get his wife from? He had to get his wife from Japheth or Shem's, one of their daughters. All right? One of their daughters. All right, go ahead.
He began to be a mighty one in the earth.
So Nimrod was mighty, was a tyrant, was a ruler. He offset the Shemitic dynasty that Noah had set up with his sons. And Shem challenged Noah in his power. Shem challenged the authority of the kingship of Noah. This is something we just see from the scripture, because we know Noah was a king. I mean, you the first person came from the flood, and you made us all through it. Everybody was looking to and reverencing him. Then Nimrod came and said, you know what? I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to be a great and mighty one. All right? Nimrod said, I'm going to be a great and a mighty one. All right? He began to be a mighty man. All right, go ahead.
He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh.
Now, a mighty hunter. So he was bloodthirsty, in other words. Go ahead.
Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh.
Which is a token of wickedness, not of, not of virility. Not a good phrase that's used for people. The phrase is used to show people's wickedness and jealousness and disrespect and disregard of Yahweh. Being bloodthirsty, egotistical, self-centered, and wicked. Go ahead.
And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel.
Now he established the kingdom of Babel. He set up, which is, people call Babylon now. Go ahead.
And Erech and Akkad and Calneh and in the land of Shinar.
So this is all around the Euphrates areas. All right. Go ahead.
Out of that land went forth Ashur.
So it says Yatza'a Ashwar. Go ahead.
And builded Nineveh.
Wayabana Av. Okay. Now you know why. So Ashur, which is a Shemitic person. Nimrod is Ham. Ashur is Shemitic. He built up what? He built up Nineveh. Go ahead.
And the city Rehoboth and Calah and Resen, and between Nineveh and Calah, the same as a great city.
Mm-hmm.
And Mizraim begat Ludim and Anamim and Lehabim and Naphtahim and Pathrusim and Kaluhim, out of whom came Philistim and Castorim.
Now these are 7 brothers that Mizraim begat. When you look at the Yoruba, they say that they come from 7 sons. of one man. Go ahead.
And Canaan begat Sidon.
Canaan, of course, is the ancient peoples that were on the coastal areas of the eastern Mediterranean from Israel north. Those are the people that we took that land from under the direction of Yahweh. Go ahead.
His firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgasite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite.
So these are just the different families of Canaan. Go ahead.
And the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite, and afterward there were families abroad, families of the Canaanites spread abroad. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, as thou comest to Gerar, unto Gaza, and as thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah, even Admah, even unto Lashar. These are the sons of Ham after their families.
So Ham is the father of the ethnic Hamites, which people call ethnic Africans. Go ahead.
After that, in their countries and in their nations, unto Shem also was father of all the children of Eber.
So Eber, the father of Eber, is letting you know that this is a famous man. Eber became Ibar, which is the father of the Hebrews. Go ahead.
The brother of Japheth, the elder. Even to him were children born. The children of Shem, Elam, and Ashur, and Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram.
So as you go into ancient Syria, you're going into the Kurdish people. You're talking about the East Indians, Pakistani. All right, those are the people of Aram, Ashur, and Elam. Go ahead.
And the children of Aram, Uz, and Hul, and Gether, and Mash, and Arphaxad begat Salah, and Salah begat Eber, and unto Eber were born two sons.
So Eber is the man who became Eber is the man who became the father of the Hebrews, Ibar. Go ahead.
For in his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan.
So now we get into the what you could say would be the Pangea. So actually, Pangea, which Pangea during the time of Peleg, Palag, which means division. The earth was divided in his time period. Before that, everything was one ocean, one mass of land with rivers flowing through it. Go ahead.
And Joktan begat Almodad, and Shalef, and Hazar Maveth, and Jerah, and Hadaram, and Uzal, and Dikla, and Obal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan.
Now remember, we've seen the Sheba over from Ham also. Go ahead.
And their dwelling was from Misha, as thou goest unto Sephar, a mount of the east. These are the sons of Shem after their families, after their tongues, and their lands after their nations. These are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations, and their nations. And by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood.
Now, when you look at this word nations, all right, in Genesis chapter 10, verse 32, all right, the nations, all right, so it says, these nations were separated on the earth after the flood, all right. So in the Hebrew, it's telling you that these are the Goyim, all right. There's Gentiles. So Gentile isn't something that's exclusively used for the sons of Japhet. Gentile in the Hebrew is used to address all nations inside of Genesis chapter 10, not just Japhet. So the whole thing is, only white people are Gentiles and they're Japhet. Number one, white people are not Japhet. They're Shemitic people from the family of Edom. And number two, they're not the only people that are called Gentiles or Goyim in the Hebrew. Now you might have Gentile in the English, then have nations in the English. But when we look at Genesis chapter 10 in the Hebrew, okay, it's the same word. So Shem, Ham, and Japheth, their families are called Gentiles or nations or Goyim. All right.
Kalashara,
Kalashara,
the Bar Yahweh,
the body of Yahweh,
Na'isha,
Na'isha,
or Nashima.
or Nashima.
All they Yahweh said,
All the Yahweh said,
what we doing here?
what we doing here. Okay, now let's go into last portion, chapter 11. All right, verses 1 through 1 through 32, right? The seventh portion. It's, chapter 11, verses 1 through 32. All right, come a little closer. Go ahead.
And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech.
So earth, everybody had the same tongue. This was an ancient Shemitic tongue. And that's why when you go into Shinar and when you go into the Ararat area, it's a Shemitic language there. Because the Hebrew got passed down from Eber to his people. Then when they got divided, people spread out and the tongues changed. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, as I journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar,
Mm-hmm.
and they dwelt there.
So the plain of Shinar. All right, go ahead.
And I said to one another, to go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar. And they said, go, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name that should be scattered abroad upon the face of the earth, and the whole earth. And Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower.
So you see, they trying to exalt themselves to become gods again. They want to be worshipped. They want to build these great monuments and feats so people will look up to them, praise them, admire them. This is going into Nimrod trying to do all these things and wanting people to worship him and his mother as a god, which is Semiramis. This is all a demonic plot to take the focus and attention off of Yahweh, so men want to, have people worship them. Okay, go ahead.
And Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower, which the city of men builded, which the children of men builded. And Yahweh said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language.
So now nothing being withheld from me, and now they're on a course to try to get a lot of knowledge and wickedness and open up demonic plots, demonic portals, dealing with evil spirits on a high level now. Go ahead.
That they may not understand one another's speech.
So it said, let us make their languages diverse. Go ahead.
So Yahweh scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth,
Mm-hmm.
and they left off to build the city. Therefore the name of it called Babel.
Okay, Babal, which means confusion. Go ahead.
Because Yahweh did there confound the language of all the earth.
Okay, go ahead.
And from thence did Yahweh scatter them abroad the face of the earth, all the earth.
Mm-hmm.
These are the generations of Shem.
Now going into Shem. Why is it going into Shem? Because that's who the Bible is about. See, all of us in this room right now, we come from Shem. And the Bible is about us and our fathers and our mothers that come from Shem. So that's why I said, yeah, we talk about everybody else. Now let's go on. Then they talked about Ham and Japheth and who their children were and how long they had been on the earth and how long they lived. But now we're going to go into all of that with Shem, because Shem is the most important family, our sons, because that's the family that the Messiah that's promised from Genesis chapter 3 is going to come through. The Messiah, the Savior that's going to bruise the head of the serpent is going to come through our family. Yahweh came through our family. Okay, read.
Shem was 100 years old, and we got our facts added.
Now this is your genealogy. It starts then around the time of the exiles with the Assyrians and with the Babylonians, And after the destruction of Jerusalem, the records stop. The records stop. There is no group that we know of that can legitimately on the planet Earth pull up written, provable pedigree records to show their nationality and their identity. Only thing we have is the prophecies to show us and the desire to keep the Torah. That's all we have. Nobody can go and say, I come from Shem this way, or I come from Jacob or Judah. You got a lot of talking people can do, but our people, for the most part, can't prove it. And that's all right. But this is your family record that we're reading right here. This is our family tree. And this is the best that we got until we get to our, take that off like that. Until we get to our, our tribal ancestor according to where we are and what prophecies our families fulfill in the Bible. Our greater and larger group of ethnicity that we are connected to. Now go ahead.
2 years after the flood,
Mm-hmm.
and Shem lived after he begot Arphaxad 500 years, and begot sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 530 years, and begot Sarah. And Arphaxad lived after he begot Sarah 403 years, and begot sons. And Sarah lived 30 years, and begot Eber. And Sabah lived after he begot Eber 403 years, and begot sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years, and begot Peleg. And Eber lived after he begot Peleg 430 years, and begot sons and daughters.
Right.
And Peleg lived 30 years, and begot Reu. And Peleg lived after he begot Reu 209 years.
Remember, Peleg is Pelag, and his day is when the earth broke up into different bigger land masses. Okay. Before that, it was all one earth, one piece of land with rivers and stuff and mountains all together. And then everything split up. Okay. South Africa broke off from Africa. It fits right in there. I mean, South America broke off from West Africa. Fits right in there. All right. So everything just broke off. Go ahead.
And Reu lived
And who?
Reu
And Reu, go ahead.
lived 230 years, and begot Serug. And Reu lived after he begot Serug 207 years, and begot sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years, and begot Nahor. Serug lived after he begot Nahor
200 years, go ahead.
And begot sons and daughters. Nahor lived 9 and 20 years.
So Nahor was 29.
And begot Terah.
And had Terah.
And Nahor lived after he begot Terah 119 years. And begot
so Nahor is Terah's father. Go ahead.
Terah lived 70 years.
So Terah was 70. Go ahead.
And begot Abram.
And he had Abraham's father. He was Abraham's father. Go ahead.
Nahor and Haran.
So you see what happened. Now Nahor was Terah's father, right? Look at verse 24. Nahor lived 29 years and begat Terah. Now look at it. All right. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. See, Nahor named his son after his father. Anybody got that? He named his son after his father, which is Nahor. All right, which is okay, so Nahor, which is Waikaya Nakwar. Okay, go ahead.
Now these are the generations of Terah.
So that's gonna break it down for us. Okay, here's Terah. Go ahead.
Terah begot Abram.
So he had Abram, which became Abraham. Abraham means father of many. Go ahead.
Nahor.
Go ahead.
And Haran.
Go ahead.
Haran begot Lot.
Haran is Lot's father. So Lot is Abraham's nephew. So Haran and Abraham are brothers, and Haran has a son named Lot or Lawat. Go ahead.
And Haran died before his father, Taran.
So Haran died. Lot's father died. Go ahead. Before his father died. Lot's father died. Okay. And now Lot's father died prematurely, as it were, because Lot's father's name is Haran, and Haran died before his own father died, which is Nahor. Which is Terah. So Terah, Haran, and Lot. All right. Now Nahor, Terah didn't die. Haran died before his father. So the father had to bury his own son. All right. Go ahead.
In of the Chaldees.
So they lived in of the Chaldees. Go ahead.
And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren; she had no child. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, and his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan.
So they went to the land of Canaan. Go ahead.
And they came into Haran and dwelt there.
So Terah and all his family, including Abraham, including Lot, they left from of Chaldees and came into Canaan. Before it was called Israel, it was called Canaan, which was the site of the Garden of Eden, at Jerusalem. All right. So now they left from over here, the Tigris River area, and now they're coming into the Jordan River area. All right, go ahead.
And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran, Kalashra,
the body of Yahweh,
Naisha,
Wanashemai.
all that Yahweh said.
All that Yahweh said.
What we doing here?
What we doing here. All right, let's bring. Supposed to be 54. Well, in the Hebrew Bible, you got a King James Bible. Okay, that's cool. But in the Hebrew Bible, it's Isaiah chapter 54, verses 1 through 17. How many verses in Isaiah 54 in that King James Bible? No, it's 54, 1 through 17. I don't know how they got yeah. So why they got us going on into the Haftarah that we have is 54, 1 through 17. That's it. Haftarah. 54, 1 through is it 1 through 20? But it says 54 through 55:5. I'll just go with the KJV got there. All right, 54. Then you stop at 17, go ahead and start from 55, 1 through 5.
Seeing Aaron, thou that didst not bear.
That's talking about Abraham's wife that we said about, Sarah, because she didn't have children. Go ahead.
Break forth into singing, and cry aloud.
Now, Sarah also represents the new covenant that we have going into Yahweh. Go ahead.
Thou that didst not travail a child, for more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married wife, saith Yahweh. And
so the Ba'iwala, the one that had submitted herself, had less children, but the one that was desolate, there was barren, had more children. So Israel became a greater nation. Paul talked about this also. This Israel became a greater nation than Ishmael. And we're going to be a greater nation than Ishmael. Right, go ahead.
Enlarge the place of thy tent, and let them stretch forth the curtains of thy habitations.
Mm-hmm.
Spare not, lengthen thy cords.
I think this is going into Galatians. Go ahead. I'll bring it out.
And strengthen thy stakes, for thou shalt break forth on the right.
Strengthen your stakes, meaning what? Get your pegs in the ground, because you're going to have a big household, powerful children. You're going to need a lot of room for them to grow up in and learn. When you go into Galatians chapter 4, he talks about Ishmael and Jerusalem, rather, and Hagar, which is what verse 1 was talking about. And then you can also read, that's Galatians chapter 4, read that. And you can also read, you could jump back into Romans chapter 9. You can really go into Romans chapter 9. Actually 9:9. All right, talking about Sarah and Hagar. But go ahead, continue.
For thou shalt break forth on the right hand and on the left.
So Israel is going to explode like the Most High promised. All right, that of his seed he was going to be multiplied as the sands of the sea. But also Israel is going to be multiplied, coming specifically from our mother Sarah. And the other ones come from Ishmael and the Midianites, and they come from who? They come from Hagar, and some of them come from Keturah. Go ahead.
And thy seed shall inherit the Gentiles,
Mm-hmm.
and make the desolate cities to be inhabited. Fear not, for thou shalt not be ashamed, neither be thou confounded.
Inherit the Gentiles. I mean, we're gonna all these people we read about in Genesis chapter 10, they all gonna become our subjects. Go ahead.
For thou shalt not be put to shame,
Mm-hmm.
for thou shalt forget the shame of thy youth, and shalt not remember the reproach of thy widowhood anymore.
So all the things that we experienced, shameful to our people, we're not going to remember those things no more. That's all going to be put away. Read.
For thy maker is thine husband, and Yahweh of hosts is his name, and thy redeemer, the Holy One of Yasharal.
Mm-hmm.
The Abraham of the whole earth shall he be called. For Yahweh hath called thee as a woman forsaken and grieved in spirit, and a wife of youth, when thou wast refused, saith thy Elohim. For a small moment have I forsaken thee, but with great mercies will I gather thee.
Mm-hmm.
In the little wrath I hid my face from thee for a moment.
So he's saying the punishment he put upon us is going to be soon over, and it's going to seem like a small fraction of time compared to the wonderful glory he's going to give us, the compassion and the kindness. Read. Call your verse.
Isaiah chapter 54, verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
But with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee, saith Yahweh thy Redeemer.
Mm-hmm.
For this is as the waters of Noah unto me. For as I have sworn that the waters of Noah should no more go over the earth, so have I sworn that I would not be wroth with thee, nor rebuke thee.
So he's saying that just like I swore to Noah that we read about, I'm making that same type of oath to you. I'm not going to rebuke you or be mad with you anymore. I'm going to forgive you. Go ahead.
For the mountains shall depart, and the hills be removed. But my kindness shall not depart from thee, neither shall the covenant of my peace be removed, saith Yahweh that hath mercy on me.
Mm-hmm.
O thou afflicted, tossed with tempest, and not comforted, behold, I will lay thy stones with fair colors, and lay thy foundations with sapphires,
Mm-hmm.
and I will make thy windows of agates, and thy gates of carbuncle, and all thy borders of pleasant stones. And all thy children shall be taught of Yahweh, and great shall be the peace of thy children.
So all of our children are going to be disciplines or disciples of the laws and the commandments of Yahweh. It says, be taught of Yahweh. Go ahead.
In righteousness shalt thou be established. Thou shalt be far from oppression, for thou shalt not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near
So
thee.
all the things that we have going on now, our children being taught by the devil, his ways, not Yahweh's ways. Righteousness is overturned. We're very close to oppression. Our people do fear, all right? And they're close to ruin, all right? And these things are very close to us now, as a nation, as a people. You understand, Zayatan? Close to who? Okay, go ahead.
Behold, they shall surely gather together, but not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work.
So Yahweh made all of the things on the earth that people use and create and make. All right, go ahead.
And I have created the waster to destroy.
So he created the destroyer to destroy. So everything man made is going to be destroyed. All the things he used to build up his empire is going to be destroyed. Go ahead.
No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper.
So everything they've used to create and say we're going to use these against the chosen people, that's not going to work against us. Go ahead.
And every tongue that shall rise up against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahweh.
Go ahead.
Oh, every one that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, and ye that hath no money.
So he said all of the thirsty hoes. I'm just playing. He said everyone that thirsteth. Ho, meaning check this out. Behold, everyone that's thirsty. You want this water. You want to thirst after righteousness.
Come ye, buy and eat. Yea, come, buy wine and milk without money, and without price. Wherefore do ye spend money for that which is not bread? And
So you're wasting your resources on something that's not going to benefit you. Go ahead.
And your labor for that which satisfieth not. Hearken diligently unto me, and ye shall eat ye that which is good, and let your soul delight itself in fatness. Incline your ear and come unto me. Hear, and your soul shall live. And I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. Behold, I have given him for a witness.
What verse you in?
Verse 4.
All right, stop at 5.
Behold, I have given him for a witness to the people, a leader and commander to the people. Behold, thou shalt not call a nation that thou knowest not, and nation.
Read that again. Behold, what?
Thou shalt call a nation that thou knowest not.
So Yahweh said he's going to call a nation that he does not know, a nation that's not really down with him. Go ahead.
And nations that knew not thee.
And what?
And nations that knew not
nations, thee. Plural. All right, now what verse we in, man?
Isaiah chapter 55, verse 5.
Huh?
Isaiah chapter 55, verse 5.
Now, let me look at that. We're going to Isaiah 55 and 5. I want to look at that in the Hebrew real quick. It is all Goyim talking about Gentiles. He says, Hana Goya La'ah, Tadai Takwara'a. Nations you have not known shall call. Then he says, Wa Goya La'ah, Yadai Waka. They have not known you. All right. Aliyaka, to you, Yarawatizawa. All right. To you, they shall come or run. All right, so he's talking about the actual Goyim, talking about actual Gentiles. That's what he says when we look in the Hebrew. All right, and that's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, a lot of your doctrine is off because you ain't looking at the Hebrew. You want to say, oh, it's this type of Gentile, that type. Well, how many kind of Gentiles we got in the Hebrew? All right, it says nations. Go ahead.
And nations that knew not thee.
Nations that did not know Yahweh. Now, if you want to say Goya means Gentile, it would say Gentiles that did not know Yahweh. That's what it said. All right. Gentiles didn't know you what?
shall run unto thee.
It says wa gawaya la'a yadai waka. Nation and nations, okay, knowing to you. Okay. Aliyaka to you, Yarawatzawa, where they run they. Wa ma'ain, go ahead, and what?
Because of Yahweh Elohim.
On account of Yahweh Alahayaka. Wala Kwadwash, and what? Sanctify? What did it say?
And for the Holy One of Yashar'Allah, for he hath glorified thee.
Okay. All right, so this is what the Most High said. We can't kick up against his word. It is what it is exactly as he wants it to be, according to what he said in the word. All right, so now we're in Luke what? Luke 17, verse 20 through 27. All right. Luke 17, verse 20 through 27. Are you Luke 17, verse 20 through 27. Go ahead.
And when he was demanding of the Pharisees when the kingdom of Elohim should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of Elohim cometh not with observation.
If you don't know, you better ask somebody, because you ain't gonna see it coming. If it ain't for you, you ain't gonna get it. Now go ahead.
Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there,
Mm-hmm.
for behold, the kingdom of Elohim is within you.
Go ahead.
And he said unto the disciples, the days will come when you shall desire to see one of the sons of men, and you shall not see it.
Mm-hmm.
And they shall say to you, see here or see there, and not after them. Go not after them, nor follow them.
Mm-hmm.
For as the lightning.
So it says there's gonna be a day coming where, here's the Son of Man over here. Here's the Messiah. He's over here. He's over there. He said, "No, I don't go." A lot of people are gonna be trying to say that Hamashiach Yahushua is on the earth in some type of form, or he's hiding. You got to come to a special place to see him. He's saying, "No, I'm not gonna be in no secret place, hide nowhere." Read.
For as the lightning that lighteth out one part under heaven.
You ever see when the lightning come in the sky? When one part of the sky to what? Read.
Shineth unto the other part under the
So from one part to the other part is, have you ever had an argument with somebody about if something was lightning or not? Have you ever been looking at the sky with somebody beside you and you seen lightning in the sky and somebody said, that wasn't lightning? Have you ever had that argument with nobody? You ever had an argument with anybody? No, because everybody see the lightning and they know, well, this is lightning. It's clear. It's agreeable. We can all see it. There's no debate. So he's saying just the same way as the lightning brightens up the sky, and we all see it. Read.
So shall also the Son of Man be in his day.
So the Son of Man, Yahushua, his return, everybody gonna see it. Won't be no debate, no controversy. Read.
But first must he suffer many things and be rejected of this generation.
But first he had to live out that curse of becoming a curse for us and taking upon himself our sins before he goes into his glorious return that we read about in Matthew 24 and 25. Go ahead.
And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man.
So as it was in the days of Noah, go ahead. It's going to be the same way when Yahweh shall return. Go ahead.
They did eat.
They were eating.
They drank.
They were drinking.
They married wives.
They were marrying women. Go ahead.
They were given in marriage.
And they were giving their children in marriage. And they themselves were given in marriage. Go ahead.
Until the day without Noah entered into the ark.
Mm-hmm.
And the flood came and destroyed them all.
So until the ark came, everybody was living life as normal. All right. They were living their life normally. until destruction came. Okay, so when the Most High started to bring his destruction, when the Most High starts to bring Yahushua upon the earth, people are going to be living normal, cool lives. Then bam, suddenly it say everything going to be destroyed. All right. So that's a Torah reading, all right, for today, for this Sabbath portion of NOACH. All right. Shalom Lakam. Salud, papá. De nada. No hay de qué.